Hi guys, I'm Krista from KISS 100.5. So if you haven't heard already, we have something very exciting going on right now. We have teamed up with Sleep Country Canada and the Salvation Army for the Pajamas and Storybooks for Better Bedtimes campaign. So basically for this initiative, they're going to have bins in store and will be collecting gently used and new pajamas and storybooks for children in need. A great thing about this is everything stays local. So all the donations are going to be going to local charities and organizations such as the Salvation Army. To top it off too, they're going to be giving away coupons to get $15 off every $100 spent in store. This can be redeemed at all Sleep Country Canada locations all throughout the country. Now, without further ado, I am so pleased to read a storybook to all of the wonderful children out there and those young at heart. Thank you.
The Three Bears by Joseph Jacobs. Once upon a time, there was 3 bears who lived together in a house in the woods. One of them was a small wee bear, one was a middle-sized bear, and the last was a great, huge bear. They each had a pot for their porridge, a small pot for the wee bear, a middle-sized pot for the middle-sized bear, and a great, huge pot for the great, huge bear. And they had each a chair to sit in, a small chair for the small wee bear, a middle-sized chair for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge chair for the great huge bear. They had a bed to sleep in as well, a small bed for the small wee bear, a middle-sized one for the middle-sized bear, and a great huge bed for a great huge bear. One day, after they had made their breakfast porridge and poured it into their porridge pots, they went for a walk in the woods, leaving the porridge to cool so they wouldn't burn their mouths by eating it too soon. While they were out walking, a little girl came into the clearing where their house was. She could not have been a good little girl because she peeped in the window and then peered through the keyhole to see if anyone was home. Seeing nobody in the house, she lifted the latch and went in. Inside the house, the little girl saw the porridge pots on the table. If she had been a good little girl, she would have waited till the bears came home, and then perhaps they would have asked her to have breakfast with them. But she was a naughty little girl, so she set about helping herself. First, she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, but it was too hot for her, and she said a bad word about that. Then she tasted the porridge of the middle-sized bear, and that was too cold for her, and she said a bad word about that too. And then she found the porridge of the small wee bear and tasted that. It was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so much that she ate it all up. But the naughty little girl even said a bad word about that little pot because it did not hold enough porridge for her. Then the little girl sat down in the chair of the great huge bear, but that was too hard for her. Next, she sat down in the chair of the middle-sized bear, but that was much too soft for her. Then she sat down in the chair of the small wee bear, and that was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So she sat and sat until the bottom fell out, and down she went, bump onto the floor. Then the little girl went upstairs and into the bedroom where the 3 bears slept. First, she lay down on the bed of the big huge bear, but the pillow was too high. Next, she lay down on the bed of the middle-sized bear, but the pillow was too flat. Then she lay down on the bed of the small wee bear, and the pillow was neither too high nor too flat, but just right. So she covered herself up and was so comfortable that she fell fast asleep. By this time, the 3 bears thought their porridge would be cool enough to eat, so they went home for some breakfast. Now, the little girl had left the spoon of the great huge bear standing in the porridge. "Somebody has been eating my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. And when the middle-sized bear looked at his porridge, he saw that the spoon was standing in it too. "Somebody has been eating my porridge as well," said the middle-sized bear. Then the small wee bear looked at his, and the spoon was in the porridge pot, but the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been eating my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the small wee bear. The 3 bears, seeing that someone had come into their house and eaten up the small wee bear's breakfast, began to look for whoever it was. Now, the little girl had not put the hard cushion straight when she got up from the chair of the great huge bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the great huge bear. And the little girl had pressed down the soft cushion of the middle-sized bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the middle-sized bear. And you know what the little girl had done to the third chair? "Somebody has been sitting in my chair and has sat the bottom out of it," said the small wee bear. Then the three bears thought they had better look upstairs. So up to the bedroom they went. Now the little girl had pulled the pillow of the great huge bear off the bed. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear. And the little girl had left the pillow of the middle-sized bear at the foot of the bed. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle-sized bear. And when the small wee bear looked at his bed, the pillow in its right place, but on the pillow was the head of a little girl, for she should not have been there at all. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is," said the small wee bear. Even though she was fast asleep, the little girl had heard the great rough, gruff voice of the great huge bear as if in a dream. And she had heard the middle voice of the middle-sized bear, but still didn't wake up. But when she heard the small voice of the small wee bear, it was so sharp and so shrill and close that it woke her up at once. Up she started, and when she saw the three bears looking at her from one side of the bed, she tumbled out of the other side and ran to the window, which was open. Out jumped the little girl, and whether she hurt herself when she hit the ground, or found her way home through the woods, or was punished for staying away from school that day, nobody knows. But she was never seen by the three bears again. The end.